Welcome to Midday Prime, your 60 minutes of Power Pack News, where we cut all the noise, bring you news as it happens on Ground Zero. I'm Anil Thomas, and over the next 1 hour, we'll take a look at all the developments in the field of politics, business, sports, entertainment. Lots to look forward to in the next 1 hour. Let's get started with the big story. Prime Minister inaugurates Infinity Forum for FinTech. PM says technology affects people from all walks of life. FinTech has made digital revolution a reality in the country and also promoted financial inclusion. Omicron variant puts the entire world on alert, with New York alone registering 5 new cases. US prepares comprehensive strategy to fight the new variant, while Norway reimposes COVID restrictions. WHO says new COVID variants coming up due to low vaccinations and testing numbers. Odisha and Andhra Pradesh gear up to face Cyclone Jawad. Heavy rain expected in coastal areas. Cyclone expected to make landfall at Puri on December 5th. Preparations being done on war footing to deal with the storm. NDRF coordinating with all agencies. In Parliament today, Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha are adjourned till 2:30 p.m. Union Health Minister Dr. Mansukh Mandavia will answer today on the current situation of corona pandemic in Lok Sabha. On International Day of Persons with Disabilities, the President presents annual national awards to individuals, institutions, organizations and states, districts for their outstanding achievements and work towards the empowerment of persons with disabilities. Supreme Court hearing on the deteriorating air quality situation in Delhi continues. Court expresses satisfaction over the formation of a 5-member enforcement task force on air quality management in NCR and Delhi. Schools and colleges in Delhi closed till further orders. And in sports, the second and final cricket test match between India and New Zealand is on at the Wankhede Stadium in Mumbai from today. India winning the toss, decide to bat first. Virat Kohli marks his return. Well, let's now begin the bulletin with the big news. Well, our top story there coming from Prime Minister Narendra Modi today inaugurating that Infinity Forum, a thought leadership forum on fintech via video conferencing. Indonesia, South Africa and UK are partner countries in the first edition of the 2-day forum. Infinity Forum brings together the leading minds of the world in policy, business and technology. This 2-day event also finds actionable insight into how technology and innovation can be leveraged by the fintech industry for inclusive growth and serving humanity at large. Speaking at the occasion, Prime Minister Narendra Modi said that technology is bringing a big shift in finance. He said that fully digital banks without any physical branch offices are a reality today and may be common in less than a decade. Giving an example of financial empowerment, the Prime Minister said that last year mobile payments in India surpassed ATM cash withdrawals for the first time. Also, the mobile payment exceeded card payments last year.
Technology is bringing a big shift in the world of finance. Last year in India, mobile payments exceeded ATM cash withdrawals, and that was for the first time. Fully digital banks without any physical branch offices are already a reality and may become commonplace in less than a decade.
Well, he said 1.3 billion transactions were made through RuPay card last year.
Technology has also catalyzed financial inclusion. From less than 50% Indians having bank accounts in 2014, we have almost universalized with 430 million Jan Dhan accounts in the last 7 years. So far, 690 million RuPay cards have been issued. RuPay cards clocked 1.3 billion transactions last year. Despite the pandemic, about 1.5 million railway tickets get booked online every day. Last year, FASTag processed 1.3 billion seamless transactions.
Well, the Prime Minister further said that our digital public infrastructure solutions can improve the lives of citizens around the world. He further said that we believe in sharing our experiences and expertise with the world and learning from them as well.
We believe in sharing our experiences and expertise with the world and learning from them as well. Our digital public infrastructure solutions can improve the lives of people around the world. Tools like UPI and RuPay provide an unparalleled opportunity for every country, an opportunity to provide a low-cost, reliable, real-time payment system as well as domestic card scheme and fund remittance system.
Prime Minister Modi said that the time has come to convert these fintech initiatives into a fintech revolution.
Fintech industry in India is innovating to enhance access to finance and the formal credit system to every person in the country. Now, it is time to convert these fintech initiatives into fintech revolution, a revolution that helps to achieve financial empowerment of every single citizen of the country.
He further said fintech innovation will be incomplete without fintech security innovation.
Fintech industry has achieved huge scale, and scale means people from all walks of life as customers. This fintech acceptability among the masses has a unique feature. That feature is trust. The common Indian has shown immense trust in our fintech ecosystem by embracing digital payments and such technologies. This trust is a responsibility. Trust means that you need to ensure that the interests of people are secure. Fintech innovation will be incomplete without fintech security innovation.
Prime Minister further said that India has proved to the world that it is second to none when it comes to adopting technology or innovating around it. He said transformational initiatives under Digital India have opened doors for innovative fintech solutions to be applied in governance.
India has proved to the world that it is second to none when it comes to adopting technology or innovating around it. Transformational initiatives under Digital India have opened doors for fintech innovations to be applied in governance.
Well, let's now try and understand financial inclusion as a driver for fintech revolution. How does it come about? Let's take a look at some number crunching. Before that, let's understand fintech rests on 4 pillars: income, investments, insurance and institutional credit. Now, transformational initiatives under Digital India that have opened the doors for fintech innovations to be applied in governance, and the technology has also catalyzed financial inclusion. From less than 50% of Indians there having bank accounts in 2014, we have now almost universalized it to 430 million Jan Dhan accounts in the last 7 years. That's not all. 690 million RuPay cards have been issued in that same timeline. Close to that, RuPay cards have clocked 1.3 billion transactions in just 1 year. Moving forward, UPI has processed, when one moves forward, this is 1.3 billion when it comes to RuPay card, but UPI has processed around 4.2 billion transactions in just 1 month. That's the month gone by, and almost 300 million invoices are uploaded on the GST portal every month. So clearly digital footprints being seen everywhere. More than 12 billion US dollars worth of payment being done through the portal every month. So exactly the growth there, or the footprint there across many sectors being seen, and despite the pandemic causing havoc across the world, an opportunity being encashed there. About 1.5 million railway tickets being booked online every day. This is every day. Also, when it comes to moving in India, last year FASTag processed 1.3 billion seamless transactions there. So clearly, not only on the roads but also on rail, we have seen progress. And Prime Minister Swanidhi is enabling access to credit for small vendors across the country, and e-Rupee has enabled targeted delivery of specified services without leakages. So that's the big trust that the Prime Minister was stressing on, specific services being done through e-Rupee, as a result of which leakages are being stopped. All these clearly indicate a true reflection of the scale and scope of fintech in India and the footprint it has managed to gather, converting a crisis into an opportunity to grow exponentially for Digital India. Well, let's now move to our next developing story. Well, discussions continued in both the houses of Parliament. Union Health Minister Dr. Mansukh Mandavia will reply today on the current situation of coronavirus pandemic in the lower house. While speaking during question hour in Lok Sabha today, the Union Health Minister, Mr. Mandavia, has refuted allegations that there were several losses of lives due to shortage of oxygen during the second wave of COVID-19 in the country. He said several state governments have replied to the centre's query on the subject, saying there have been no deaths due to lack of oxygen except in Punjab, where there were 4 suspected cases of deaths. He said the issue of lack of oxygen supply is being politicized, and the Union Health Minister explained that during the second wave of the pandemic there has been huge capacity addition in oxygen production. And he further went on to say that many oxygen containers and cylinders were imported using sea and air routes to meet the growing needs, adding logistical facilities which were also augmented across the country for the transport of oxygen.
ऐसी स्थिति में देश में ऑक्सीजन प्रोडक्शन बढ़ाया, देश के एक जगह से दूसरी जगह पर ऑक्सीजन पहुंचाने के लिए ट्रेन का उपयोग किया गया, विदेश से टैंकर, विशेष टैंकर भी मंगाए गए, नेवी का उपयोग किया गया, तुरंत ही टैंकर वापस लाए, इसलिए खाली टैंकर को वापस लाने के लिए एयरफोर्स प्लेन का भी उपयोग किया गया। ये सारी व्यवस्था करके देश में ऑक्सीजन की रिक्वायरमेंट पूरी हो, ऐसा भारत सरकार ने प्रयास किया। मुझे मैं दुख के साथ बता रहा हूं माननीय अध्यक्ष महोदय, ऐसी स्थिति में भी कई लोगों ने राजनीति नहीं छोड़ी और कई ऐसे अपने यहाँ ऑक्सीजन की रिक्वायरमेंट है, कोर्ट में चले गए, कोर्ट से अपना ज्यादा डिमांड को दिखा के ऑर्डर ले आए। और मैंने ये भी देखा है कि दिल्ली के सड़कों पर टैंकर घूमता हो, खाली करने की जगह नहीं हो, दूसरी जगह पे ऑक्सीजन की रिक्वायरमेंट हो, डिमांड हो, ये राजनीति ऑक्सीजन पर चली और बाद में कितने डेथ हुए ये भी राजनीति चली। माननीय अध्यक्ष महोदय, मैं आपके माध्यम से बताना चाहता हूँ कि भारत सरकार की ओर से माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी ने भी माननीय मुख्यमंत्री की मीटिंग में भी बार बार कहा कि उसमें कोई छुपाने की आवश्यकता नहीं है।
Meanwhile, the Central Vigilance Commission Amendment Bill 2021 has been introduced by the Minister of State in the PMO, Dr. Jitendra Singh, in the Lok Sabha today. Opposition, including Congress floor leader Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary, Shashi Tharoor and RSP member N.K. Premchandran opposing the bill, saying the statement of object of the bill does not have clarity. Union Minister Dr. Jitendra Singh said that the members who oppose the bill have jumped to conclusion before reading the contents fully. The bill seeks to replace an ordinance promulgated on November 14 this year, amending the Central Vigilance Commission Act 2003. It provides for the tenure of director of the CVC to extend by up to 1 year at a time till the completion of 5 years from the initial appointment. Well, Omicron is a new variant of SARS-CoV-2, first reported from South Africa on the 24th of November this year. It is called B.1.529 or Omicron, based on Greek alphabets like Alpha, Beta, Delta. The variant has shown a very large number of mutations, especially more than 30 on the viral spike protein. Well, it was first to get more updates on what's happening in Parliament there in this winter session of Parliament, we've got Vikas Sarthia, correspondent, joining us from Parliament, giving us the latest updates. Vikas, good afternoon. Welcome to Midday Prime. Vikas, bring us abreast, especially when it comes to discussions there. You know, we are hitting that first weekend when it comes to the winter session of Parliament, but bring us abreast with all the developments that's taken place in both houses of Parliament today.
Good afternoon, Anil. You can say that today proceeding in both the houses were quite smooth, and there was not much protest from the opposition leaders as well. Though on some occasions they tried to create a kind of ruckus, but overall the proceedings are smooth. And as you were telling earlier, that yes, Health Minister will respond to the discussion on COVID situation in the country, and it is expected that he will give a detailed reply on the current situation and what arrangements have been made so far. Earlier also during the question hour, Health Minister assured the House that this time there is no lack of oxygen as alleged by the opposition leaders on the previous occasions. There will be no shortage of oxygen or other essential equipments. He assured the House again. In fact, he said that on the previous occasion also, during the COVID second wave also, the government provided oxygen supply to all states. There were adequate oxygen capacity was available with these states. In fact, he also attacked the Delhi government that instead of using the available stock, they ran to the High Court and Supreme Court and tried to get orders from the court, though the fact was that the Delhi government didn't have any capacity to store enough oxygen to meet the requirement of COVID patients. So he attacked Delhi government here. Apart from it, Health Minister also underlined that the government has sought details from at least 19 states, but only Punjab informed the centre that 4 deaths occurred due to lack of oxygen. So here, when the discussion again began on the issue of COVID-19, Health Minister will not only give the update and the current situation, but may also give details about the arrangement of government during the previous waves of COVID-19.
Okay. You know, also there's been a long deliberation and debate, especially when it comes to COVID-19 management in India in the lower house. Bring us some of the finer points that were brought out by the opposition as well as the government.
Right, Anil. Yesterday, most of the MPs lauded the government's efforts during the first and second COVID wave, and in fact, BJP MPs said that India fought very efficiently this whole menace, and we performed very well in comparison to other countries. And some of the MPs from the opposition parties said that there were several instances where people didn't get treatment in time, and there were lack of oxygen. So the statements of the different MPs were on the lines of their respective parties. But most of the MPs yesterday acknowledged that during the time of this level of crisis, government did well, and in fact whatever can be done in so little time, all those steps have been taken, and apart from it, some MPs also underlined the vaccination program that we have achieved, a kind of vaccination program which no other country has shown so far. So there were mixed reactions on the yesterday's discussion, but it is going to be very important day today for this whole discussion, as Health Minister will give a detailed reply in the lower house.
Also with regards to the Omicron variant that's taken the world by storm, purely, do you somewhere feel that there is going to be an accelerated push, especially by parliamentarians there, for getting maybe a second generation COVID shot or maybe even a booster shot? That's going to be the argument, or that's going to be what's expected from the health minister, especially when it comes to tackling this particular mutation or variant of COVID-19.
Well, Anil, at this point in time, we are at a very initial stage that how much this booster dose will help. So as the government and as the authorities get more information, more particular details about this variant, certainly these issues will also be raised in the parliament in question hour, and in 0 hour these issues will be certainly debated and discussed. But as of now, the reply may be limited to the current situation and what are the arrangements which have been put in place by the government.
Okay, we'll leave it there. Thank you and appreciate you joining us. You've got a busy day ahead, especially with the Union Health Minister expected to speak in the lower house with regards to COVID-19 and the steps taken by the government. Thank you and appreciate you joining us on Midday Prime. Well, staying with that Omicron story, but shifting to the western state of Maharashtra, where the Maharashtra Health Minister Rajesh Tope has informed that passengers arriving in Maharashtra by air from high-risk countries like South Africa, Botswana and Zimbabwe, and those who have visited these countries in the last 15 days will be considered as high-risk patients. For these passengers, separate rooms for testing and verification will be arranged at all international airports in Maharashtra by the concerned airport management authorities, and passengers arriving in the airport from high-risk countries will have to undergo immediate RT-PCR testing and a 7-day institutional isolation, which will be mandatory. The second RT-PCR will be done on the 7th day, and if it is positive, the passenger would be admitted to the hospital. And RT-PCR testing is not mandatory for those who have completed vaccination and travel within the country after entering the state. However, passengers who have not completed the vaccination require a negative RT-PCR test within 72 hours. The State Health Minister Rajesh Tope has appealed to the people of the state to strictly abide by COVID rules and get vaccinated. Although 2 patients with Omicron have been found in Karnataka, new restrictions are unlikely to be imposed in the state. But for more on this story, we've got our correspondent Shishir Shilar joining us from Mumbai this afternoon on the phone line. Shishir, especially when it comes to the new variant and the neighboring state of Karnataka, having 2 cases of Omicron variant, that's the first entrant in India. How is Maharashtra gearing up? Since it's a neighboring state, how is Maharashtra gearing up, especially in keeping it under check? And you would have large number of people, from various countries coming into Maharashtra.
Well, absolutely. Looking at these, especially the 2 new suspected cases of Omicron in Karnataka, the entire state of Maharashtra is on high alert. And especially that's what the Health Minister Rajesh Tope have said. He said that we are on alert mode here, but still, he also appealed people not to get scared of these things entirely. A few things that he announced yesterday as far as the traveling is concerned, especially for the passengers are concerned. Now, the Maharashtra government have already made it mandatory for those who will be traveling from the risk countries to carry out the RT-PCR test at the airport, and they also have to go to the institutional quarantine and home quarantine period, which can a total of almost a 14 days quarantine period they'll have to go through. 3 important countries, the 3 high-risk countries have been identified by the state government, that is Botswana, Zimbabwe and South Africa. So the passengers who are coming to Maharashtra from these countries will be considered as high-risk passengers, and mandatory arrangements have been done for those passengers who are entering in Maharashtra. Well, apart from that, the Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj International Airport have also put in place all the necessary measures to implement the COVID protocols here, and that's the reason passengers coming from these countries will have to go through the entire procedure that have been laid down by the government here, including the state government here. The Air Suvidha online portal, a self-declaration form with the travel details of the last 14 days and a copy of the passport and negative COVID-19 RT-PCR reports not older than 7 to 2 hours before the journey, and a declaration of authenticity of the test report should be submitted at the airport. So these are the things that already were taken care of by the international airport along with the state government authorities here. Today, the health minister have already clarified one thing, that though the entire state is on high alert, but he also stated that one thing is quite good at this point in time, that even though the virus is spreading here, but the intensity of a virus is quite low here, so that there's a low risk factor involved in it. That's the reason people should not get scared of it, but obviously they should have to follow all the COVID appropriate behavior, be it the sanitization also, or maintaining a distance or social distancing, at the same time wearing a mask in public places. This needs to be done on a regular period. So obviously, even though Maharashtra currently have sent almost nearly 28 swabs for the genome sequencing so far, entire Maharashtra is concerned, mostly those swabs sent to the Kasturba hospital in Mumbai for the genome sequencing. So the Maharashtra government is also now seeing the details also, that whether there is any traveler coming from international countries also, especially from the high-risk countries, probably may get tested to the Omicron virus is concerned. So obviously that thing is still going on, but at the same time various security aspects and the other important health measures have been taken care of by the state government.
Okay, we'll leave it there. Thank you and appreciate you joining us to share with the latest updates from the Mumbai International Airport in particular, where we see a large inflow of foreign tourists coming, foreign visitors coming to India through that particular gateway. Thank you for joining us on Midday Prime. Well, let's now get you updates on Omicron. Well, starting first up with Omicron is a new variant of SARS-CoV-2. It was first reported from South Africa on the 24th of November this year. It is called a B1.15.529 or an Omicron based on the Greek alphabets like Alpha, Beta and Delta. The variant has shown a very large number of mutations, especially more than 30 on the viral spike protein, and the most acceptable and commonly used method of diagnostics for SARS-CoV-2 variant is RT-PCR method. WHO has declared a variant as a VOC after assessment when there is an increase in the transmissibility or a detrimental change in COVID-19 epidemiology. The precautions and steps to be taken especially remains the same as before, as Omicron cases are increasingly being reported from countries outside of South Africa, and given its characteristics, it is likely to spread to more countries, including India. Indian government, meanwhile, is monitoring the situation closely and is issuing suitable guidelines from time to time. So clearly, very much there when it comes to the variant, the mutation, it spreads faster, but it's not that deadly. That's all that we know at this point of time when it comes to this particular variant of COVID-19. Well, moving on to our next segment, that's National Prime. Well, Cyclone Jawad will hit Puri of Odisha on Sunday. DGIMD Mohapatra today said that the cyclone continues to move west-northwestward to northwestward over Bay of Bengal towards the eastern coast of India.
Past 24 hours आप देखेंगे कि ये नॉर्थ वेस्टवर्ड लगभग मूव किया है और धीरे धीरे ये नॉर्थ वेस्ट होते हुए फिर नॉर्थ वेस्ट मूव करेगा और कल शाम तक विशाखापट्टनम की ईस्ट में वेस्ट सेंट्रल बे ऑफ बंगाल पे ये केंद्रीभूत होगा और फिर ये धीरे धीरे बढ़ के 5th नून यानी 5 तारीख को अराउंड नून टाइम पर पुरी के आसपास पहुंचेगा। माने 4 तारीख शाम के बाद इसका दिशा परिवर्तन होगा और 4 तारीख शाम से ये साइक्लोन धीरे धीरे नॉर्थ ईस्टवर्ड मूव करेगा एलोंग ओडिशा कोस्ट एंड एडजनिंग नॉर्थ आंध्र प्रदेश कोस्ट और जब तट के पास होगा सबसे क्लोज होगा वो है 5 तारीख अराउंड नून अराउंड पूरी एरिया में ये टच करेगा।
Well, the IMD has warned of heavy rainfall in coastal areas of Odisha and Andhra Pradesh.
नॉर्थ कोस्टल आंध्र प्रदेश और उड़ीसा के लिए अभी सबसे ज़्यादा वार्निंग है। इसमें हेवी रेनफॉल एट आइसोलेटेड प्लेसेस कमेंस हो सकता है, शुरू हो सकता है नॉर्थ कोस्टल आंध्र प्रदेश और एडजॉइनिंग साउथ कोस्टल उड़ीसा में आज शाम से, यानी 3 तारीख शाम से शुरू हो सकता है। 4 तारीख को इंटेंसिटी बढ़ेगा रेनफॉल का, और हेवी टू वेरी हेवी रेनफॉल एट आइसोलेटेड प्लेसेस और एक्सट्रीमली हेवी रेनफॉल एट आइसोलेटेड प्लेसेस भी हो सकता है नॉर्थ कोस्टल आंध्र प्रदेश डिस्ट्रिक्ट्स जैसे विशाखापट्टनम, श्रीकाकुलम और विजयनगरम में, और उड़ीसा की सभी तटीय डिस्ट्रिक्ट्स में जैसे गंजाम, गजपति, खुर्दा, नयागढ़, पुरी, जगतसिंहपुर, केंद्रापड़ा, ये सभी भद्रक, बालासोर, ये सभी इलाका में हेवी टू वेरी हेवी रेनफॉल एट ए फ्यू प्लेसेस और आइसोलेटेड प्लेसेस में एक्सट्रीमली हेवी रेनफॉल हो सकता है।
Well, to get you the latest there from that particular timeline, especially Andhra Pradesh and also Odisha, we've got Shrikesh Latkar, the collector of Srikakulam. That's going to be, expected to be one of the worst hit districts there in Andhra Pradesh, likely to be hit by this particular cyclonic storm there. Clearly joining us this afternoon on Midday Prime. Good afternoon, sir. Welcome to Midday Prime. Bring us abreast, especially when it comes to, the ground plan that you have, especially when it comes to a landfall expected, and taking people or evacuating people out, and also advising fishermen not to venture out into the sea. How difficult is the process, considering that we also got this COVID vaccination drive that's very much on, and there are many restrictions in place.
Good afternoon. As you all know, Srikakulam is the northernmost district of the Andhra Pradesh, adjoining the Odisha border also. So we are expecting that today evening, from today evening, there will be heavy rains. Today evening there will be heavy rains. There is some problem in the.
So you please go ahead, speak.
Yeah, today evening we are expecting that there will be heavy rains starting in Srikakulam throughout the district. And wind speed of around 85 km per hour is expected. Rains also of around 100 mm widely spread across the Srikakulam district is expected.
Okay.
We have asked the fishermen of the hello.
Yeah, I am very much there. Please complete please complete your statement.
Yeah, we have asked the fishermen of the coastal areas not to venture into the seas. They should stay into the coast areas. They should be in the safer places. Similarly, the low-lying areas across the sea coast, if there are any thatched houses, all these people, we have asked them to be shifted to the safer places. Within the district, around 45 shelters are already operational. And since today morning, we are asking the people to cooperate with the administration and get into the shelters so that there is no chance of any damage to the life as well as to the property.
Okay, one quick word before I let you go. Purely looking at Cyclone Jawad that had hit some time back. This time around, you've got another cyclone that's very much on the time frame there. How different is it purely in terms of preparations and in terms of impact? Purely from then and now.
Yeah, Gulab cyclone has hit us somewhere around September when it was rainy season. The rains were there, lots of rivers were also full of water. So chances of flash floods also were there. So this time also, all the tanks, it is just November ending and December beginning, all the tanks are full. So we have to be very cautious because if the rains are very high, there are chances that the rivers will get flooded. The tanks also, there are chances that tanks will breach and there might be inundation in the low-lying areas. But as far as the preparations are concerned, because of recent experience, all the field teams are ready. They have been alerted sufficiently. The inundation areas also, the low-lying villages, people are also, they are also well aware of the problems that might arise.
Okay, we'll leave it there. Thank you and appreciate you joining us this afternoon, bringing us abreast with the latest developments there in Srikakulam in Andhra Pradesh. Thank you and appreciate taking time out joining us on Midday Prime. Well, that was the collector of Srikakulam joining us this afternoon on Midday Prime, bringing us the latest, especially when it comes to rescue and relief operations that are in place before the Cyclone Jawad hits that particular region along with the state of Odisha. Well, staying with that cyclone story, the depression has now intensified into a deep depression today over the west central and adjoining South Bay of Bengal. The cyclone will intensify into a cyclonic storm by today evening and likely to reach west central Bay of Bengal of North Andhra Pradesh, South Odisha coast by tomorrow morning. In view of the impending cyclonic storm, northern coastal Andhra Pradesh districts have been put on high alert. The Met Department has predicted that there would be heavy to very heavy rains today and tomorrow. NDRF and SDRF teams have been deployed in Kalingapatnam, Tekali and Srikakulam. The Tehsildar office is there to handle any situation. All schools across Visakhapatnam and Srikakulam districts are closed from noon today and for tomorrow. Meanwhile, the National Disaster Response Force NDRF has deployed 62 teams across Andhra Pradesh, Odisha, West Bengal, Tamil Nadu and Andaman and Nicobar Islands in view of the impending Cyclone Jawad. In view of the cyclone alert issued by the Met Department, 4 NDRF teams have been rushed to Vijayawada in Andhra Pradesh for pre-deployment. DG NDRF Atul Karwal said that NDRF is in touch with the state government and is providing teams they have asked for. He added that there are teams in reserve if need be. Moving to eastern part of India, where Odisha is fully geared up to face Cyclone Jawad and is likely to affect 13 to 14 districts in the coastal belt and southern part of the state. Districts like Ganjam and Gajpati are expected to witness heavy to very heavy rainfall between today and tomorrow. Wind speed could range from 60 to 100 kilometers per hour. 12 teams of NDRF, 60 teams of ODRF and 172 firefighting units are being deployed in the districts which are likely to be affected. Around 100 cyclone shelters are ready and collectors have been asked to shift people to safety from vulnerable areas. Every department, water resources and PWD officials are ready to deal with any emergency that arises. Meanwhile, Prime Minister Narendra Modi reviewed preparedness to deal with Cyclone Jawad, including timely evacuation of those in affected areas and ensuring maintenance of essential supplies. Back in the national capital, the Supreme Court continues hearing on the deteriorating air quality in the national capital Delhi and the NCR region. Meanwhile, the Commission for Air Quality Management in Delhi NCR and adjoining areas has constituted 5-member enforcement task force. In its affidavit, the Commission has informed that the Apex Court that earlier 17 flying squads have been constituted which would directly report to task force, and the task force has been given the power to take punitive and preventive measures against the non-compliance or defaulting persons or entities. The number of flying squads to be increased to 40 in 24 hours and schools and colleges will remain closed till further orders. Only CNG, electric trucks and vehicles carrying essential items will be allowed in Delhi NCR. The court permitted Delhi government to continue with construction activities of hospitals. Meanwhile, Uttar Pradesh government has told the Supreme Court that the closure of industries may affect sugarcane and milk industries in the state. The Apex Court has asked all the concerned to take immediate effective steps and posted the matter for next hearing on December 10th. Newly appointed Navy Chief Admiral R. Harikumar on Friday acknowledged that the situation along the northern border with China has increased complexities of the security scenario. Speaking during the Navy Day 2021 press briefing, Admiral Harikumar highlighted that despite the COVID-19 pandemic, the Navy has maintained combat and mission readiness. He further stressed that his readiness has ensured that there has been no misadventure in its maritime domain.
Disruptive impact of the pandemic, the Navy has maintained its operational readiness and tempo through prompt implementation of preventive protocols. our focus on maintaining combat and mission readiness resulted in deterring any misadventure in the maritime domain while contributing to the national COVID effort both internally and across the seas.
The Navy chief also highlighted the fact that the force is relying on indigenous technology and production to strengthen its fleet.
28 ships and submarines commissioned into the Navy over the last 7 years, all have been built in India. Further, of the 39 ships and submarines currently under construction, 37 are being built at Indian shipyards. These include the aircraft carrier Vikrant, Project 15 Bravo class destroyers, Project 17 Alpha class stealth frigates, and the Scorpion class submarines.
Well, India's COVID-19 vaccination coverage has crossed 125 crore 75 lakh landmark, with the administration of over 73 lakh 67,000 vaccine doses in the last 24 hours. Cumulatively, 125 crore 75 lakh 5,514 beneficiaries have been vaccinated across the length and breadth of the country. The vaccination exercise as a tool to protect the most vulnerable population groups in the country from COVID-19 continues to be regularly reviewed and monitored at the highest level. An update now on the COVID-19 situation from across the country. The recovery of 8,612 patients in the last 24 hours has increased that cumulative tally of recovered patients to 3 crore 40 lakh 45,666. Consequently, India's recovery rate stands at 98.35%. Sustained and collaborative efforts by the centre and the state along with union territories continue. The trend of less than 50,000 daily new cases that has been reported for 159 consecutive days now. 9,216 new cases were reported in the last 24 hours, and India's active case load presently stands at 99,976 cases. Active cases account for less than 1% of the total cases, and the active cases currently stand at 0.29% of the country's total positive cases, which is the lowest since March 2020. Testing capacity in the country being ramped up and expanding at a regular level. India has so far conducted over 64 crore 46 lakh tests in the country, and the testing capacity being enhanced across the country. Weekly positivity rate of 0.84 remains less than 1% for the last 19 days, and the daily positivity rate reported to be around 0.8%, and the daily positivity rate remaining below 2% for the last 60 days. Time now to shift focus and take a look at news from across the globe. Well, updates on COVID-19 from across the world on how the world is fighting it. An upward trend in COVID-19 cases yet again, 26 crore 45 lakh cases. Total recoveries 23 crore 85 lakhs. Total number of fatalities 52 lakh 52,000 deaths being reported world over. United States continues to remain the worst affected, over 4 crore 96 lakh cases of COVID-19. The death toll in the United States of America now surpassing the 8 lakh mark. COVID-19 cases have been mushrooming all across European countries, with UK being the hardest hit in the continent. UK has more than 1 crore 3 lakh cases of COVID-19, followed by France, where the cases have risen above 77 lakh 73,000. Germany comes third with 60 lakh 26,000 cases, and Italy there 50 lakh 60,000 cases of COVID-19 being registered in the European country. Asia-Pacific countries must prepare for a new surge in COVID-19 cases led by the Omicron variant and remain vigilant. That's what the World Health Organization said on Friday. First detected in southern Africa last month and dubbed a variant of concern by the WHO, scientists are still gathering data to establish how contagious Omicron is and that the severity of the illness it causes. It has been reported that at least 24 countries have started gaining a foothold in Asia this week, with cases being reported from Australia, Japan, South Korea, Singapore, Malaysia and India. Many governments have responded by tightening travel rules. Kasai added that countries must utilize lessons learned from dealing with the Delta variant and urged them to fully vaccinated vulnerable groups and implement preventive measures such as wearing masks and social distancing rules. Well, Malaysia has detected its first case of Omicron COVID-19 variant in a foreign student who was quarantined after arriving from South Africa 2 weeks ago. Its health minister has confirmed this on Friday. The 19-year-old woman who was asymptomatic and has been vaccinated had tested positive for COVID-19 on arrival in Malaysia via Singapore and was quarantined for 10 days before being released on November 29. Malaysia would immediately impose further restrictions, including additional tests for vaccinated travelers from Singapore who are allowed to enter Malaysia without quarantine. This week, Malaysia temporarily banned the entry of travelers from 8 southern African countries that have reported the presence of the variant or are considered high risk. Well, New York officials have confirmed 5 cases of the Omicron COVID-19 variant in New York City metropolitan area, hours after cases were detected in Minnesota and Colorado. New York Governor Kathy Hochul in a press conference said that the case was discovered in Suffolk County on Long Island, where 2 cases were reported in Queens, 1 in Brooklyn and 1 in Manhattan. Hochul assured the residents that the discovery of the Omicron cases in New York doesn't mean she will call for the same kind of widespread lockdowns at the beginning of the pandemic that shuttered business and put millions of New Yorkers out of work. Meanwhile, US President Joe Biden on Thursday laid out his strategy to fight the COVID-19 as the highly contagious Omicron spread across the globe, with winter coming and hours after the first known US case of community transmission of the variant was reported. With authorities around the world scrambling to contain Omicron, Biden warned in no uncertain terms that infections will rise this winter. He, however, said that his plans to fight COVID-19 does not include shutdowns.
Today, I'm back to announce our action plan to battle COVID-19 this winter. Not that any of us are surprised any of you, because it's the combined advice from all of you that we developed this plan. And it doesn't include shutdowns or lockdowns, but widespread vaccinations and boosters and testing and a lot more.
Well, under Joe Biden's plan, United States will require inbound international travelers to be tested for COVID-19 within 1 day of departure, regardless of vaccination status. Mask requirements on airplanes, trains and public transportation vehicles will be extended to March 18th next year.
It used to be that international traveler flying to the United States had to test negatively 3 days before their departure from that country. Well, I'm announcing today that all inbound international travelers must test within 1 day of departure, regardless of their vaccination status or nationality. This tighter testing timetable provides an added degree of protection as scientists continue to study the Omicron variant.
Well, South African President Cyril Ramaphosa has once again reiterated that regional travel bans imposed following last week's discovery of the Omicron COVID-19 variant are unscientific and risk forming a global health appetite. Ramaphosa had doubled down on his rejections of travel bans to South Africa amid the discovery of the Omicron variant of COVID-19, saying it is a slap in the face of African excellence.
The imposition of travel bans on South Africa and a number of countries from Southern Africa are regrettable, unfair, and unscientific. Given that it was our own scientists, African scientists, who first detected the Omicron variant, it is also a slap in the face of African excellence and expertise.
Well, time now to get you the latest from the world of sports. Well, I've got my colleague Deepika standing by to give us the latest from the world of sports. Over to you.
quickly take a look at all what is happening in the world of sports. So starting with the first update, the Sports Authority of India and Ministry of Education will run Meet the Champions program over the next 2 years as part of Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav. In continuation to this, on December the 4th, Olympic gold medalist Neeraj Chopra will visit Ahmedabad Sanskar Dham School to spread awareness on the importance of balanced diet, fitness and sports. Our next report brings you more detail.
The Sports Authority of India and Ministry of Education will run Meet the Champions program over the next 2 years as part of Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav, celebrating country's 75 years of independence. In continuation to the celebrations and Prime Minister Narendra Modi's appeal to all Tokyo Olympians and Paralympians, Tokyo Olympics gold medalist Neeraj Chopra is all set to visit Sanskar Dham School in Ahmedabad on the 4th of December to spread awareness on balanced diet, fitness as well as sports. Earlier, during Tokyo Olympics and Paralympics medalist meet and greet session with the Prime Minister on 16th of August, the Prime Minister urged Indian Olympians and Paralympians to visit 75 schools each and spread awareness on the importance of fitness and balanced diet.
जिस देश का बचपन स्वस्थ न हो, वो देश भी कभी स्वस्थ नहीं हो सकता। और एक बहुत बड़ा सामाजिक काम मैं आपको इसलिए कह रहा हूं, स्पोर्ट्स पर्सन जब कहता है तो इस विषय में वो विश्वास करता है, हाँ यार देखिए यहाँ तक पहुंचा तो खाने में उसने नियमों का पालन किया। लेकिन आप एक लेक्चर तैयार कीजिए और उनको समझाइए, और मैं समझता हूं कि एक बहुत बड़ी सेवा होगी।
Speaking on this, Neeraj Chopra said,
जब हम ओलंपिक्स से आए थे तो हमारे प्रधानमंत्री जी सभी एथलीट से मिले थे और सभी से बातें की थी, और उन्होंने ये बोला था कि आप सभी एथलीट से मैं यही बोलूंगा कि आप जब भी आपको मौका मिले तो आप स्कूल्स में जाएं, बच्चों के साथ खेलें। तो मैं फाइनली बताना चाहता हूं कि मैं संस्कार धाम आ रहा हूं 4 दिसंबर को और काफी एक्साइटेड हूं।
Prime Minister mentioned the importance of food and nutrition in one of the edition of Mann Ki Baat program. Students from across the state of Gujarat are expected to join the interaction session with Olympic gold medalist Neeraj Chopra. Other than Neeraj Chopra, Tarandeep Rai, Sarthak Bhamri, Sushila Devi, Avani Lekhra will also visit different schools in other parts of the country and spread awareness on balanced food diet, fitness and most importantly, the importance of sports. Sports Desk, DD India.
And moving on to hockey now. In a mouth-watering 2021 Men's FIH Hockey Junior World Cup semi-final match, holders and two-time champions India will take on the most successful side in the history of the tournament at Germany at Bhubaneswar, Odisha on the 3rd of December. India, who defeated Belgium by a solitary goal in a repeat of the last edition's final for a place in the last 4, will face probably the biggest challenge of the tournament when they take on Germany tonight. The German Colts will be extra motivated to beat their Indian rivals. And moving on to cricket now. At tea on day 1, India are at 111 for 3 against New Zealand at the Wankhede Stadium in Mumbai. Indian openers added 80 runs for the first wicket, but later Ajaz Patel took 3 wickets in consecutive overs to bring New Zealand back in the game. Virat Kohli, Cheteshwar Pujara and Shubman Gill were Ajaz's 3 dismissals. Kohli and Pujara failed to impress yet again as they both were dismissed on ducks. Both the star batsmen haven't registered a century since 2019, while Mayank Agarwal is still batting and he has also completed his half century and is going strong with Kanpur Test hero Shreyas Iyer in the middle. That's all for now from the world of sports. Back to you, Anil.
Well, thank you, Deepika, for bringing us the latest from the world of sports. Looking forward to action that we can expect today evening. Well, shifting now to crowds returning to New York City's Midtown Manhattan for the 89th annual lighting of the Rockefeller Center Christmas tree, officially kicking off the holiday season in unusual fashion. This year's event was open to the general public in contrast to last year's gathering that saw strict COVID-19 restrictions as virus infection cases soared. Before we end the show today, we leave you with these visuals. Take a look, enjoy, bye-bye, take care.